Yep. Hey, everybody, this is David Skarica, editor of AddictedToProfits.net. I'm here with CEO, you're still a CEO, right?
Correct.
Right, of Xtra Gold, XTG on Toronto. And he's actually a friend of mine as well. He's actually got a house on a little island off Nassau, and he's visiting Luthra, which is the island where I live. So, I've known Jimmy for, I think, almost 13, 14 years now, even though we haven't seen each other in a while. I guess I was hiding out during the bear market in gold. But anyhow, Jimmy's got this Xtra Gold is a really interesting deal. As I said, they're in Ghana. They're actually one of the few juniors, which I'll tell you about in a second, that number one is cash flow positive, profitable, produces, and has not had to finance in over 10 years. Has less shares now than it had 10 years ago, which not many juniors can say. So tell us a bit firstly about yourself, how you decided to say go to Ghana, start Xtra Gold, and then we can go into where you are today, and how you've been able to do this, not had to issue shares, and actually gotten the company profitable.
Yeah, well, thanks. Good seeing you again, Dave, and thanks for doing this interview with me. So I staked the ground. I'm the co-founder. I staked the ground in 2003 when gold was at $275 an ounce. I came from an investment background. I simply believed in my lifetime that gold would have a value, and now obviously with gold at around 1,800, that's come to fruition. So we staked it. We held on to the land. We staked a huge plot of land in Ghana, which is a known historic gold belt. We staked 226 square kilometers, paid the care and maintenance for about 8 years. Then we went public in late November 2010, raised 10 million and drilled the first gold shoot. And we're off to a nice resource that got published in July of 2012. Unfortunately, we entered a bear market and nobody wanted to invest in these things. And now we're back at it hard, drilling it out, and which I believe will be a multi-million ounce deposit. And hopefully that all gets done over the next few years.
And you're next door to a large project that Newmont has, right?
Yeah, so we're next door to Newmont Mining. They have a 10 million ounce deposit fairly close to us, and they're producing about 400,000 ounces a year. And they're mining a similar rock type that we've actually discovered, which is a granitoid hosted gold project.
Okay.
It's granite rock that's fractured, and the gold's been disseminated throughout it in stock quartz.
And so, because I talked about earlier how you guys are profitable, tell people a little bit how you're able to mine this and say produce cash flow and be profitable, so you don't have to finance. But because you're not like full scale operations yet. You kind of got like a small scale mining operation to keep like cash flow coming in.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So our gold belt, the Kibbe Gold Belt, is a 500 meter gold ridge, so it's fairly high, about 2,000 feet for the American people. And the floodplain below, the gold had come down through water erosion over thousands of years, and so the hard rock sources eroded in the floodplain, and the locals mined that for hundreds of years, if not thousands. And we don't care about the alluvial gold. We're up in the hills looking for the hard rock sources that created this. So in 2010, some miners approached me, and we entered into a contract arrangement, and we do a revenue share. They take all the operational risk. We have 6 Ghanaian contracts with alluvial miners, and we call that community mining. They're doing a great job. And for us, they generated us about 5 to 6 million of free cash flow a year, and we take that revenue and put it back into our hard rock exploration. So that's how we were able over the last 10 years not to issue any more shares since our IPO and keep our share count down. That will have tremendous value to our current shareholders, me being one of the biggest ones, as the resource grows.
Yeah.
Because you get paid per dollar in the ounce as an explorer.
Well, like the perfect example too is right now you guys would have roughly a $60 million market cap, right?
Correct.
Canadian, right?
Correct.
And then I'm in a couple of deals that have say had good results, or non-mining deals that have done very well, and these deals trade at $2 and have $500 million market caps because they've had to issue so many shares because of financings and dilution throughout the year. So the example would be if you guys could build this resource up and become a $500 million company, you'd be trading at $10 to $12 a share. So that's a huge, like the upside from the current levels, and also shows the importance of not diluting, especially for yourself as one of the probably the largest shareholder,
Right.
because you're able to. But people always look at the share price, but what they don't look at, the true value of the company, of course, is the market cap.
Correct.
So if you guys had diluted like crazy, you may have been ultimately a $3 company that was worth $500 million, but now the company could potentially go a lot higher than that. And I always like companies that are near production and expanding a resource. And you guys have the advantage where you have production and you're looking to expand this resource. So what's the plan for actually drilling this year?
Yeah, so we have 2 drill rigs aggressively drilling the resource and expanding it right now. I believe we'll be close to 1 million ounces very shortly. You could look at the press release that came out yesterday. We had phenomenal results. And if that gold shoot holds, we'll be well over 1 million. And then I want to push it to 2 million ounces over the next 2 years. And we're adding a 3rd drill rig. We've just purchased it now. So with 3 rigs, we should be able to finish the project. With those 3 rigs working 2 shifts, we'll be able to drill up to 30,000 meters a year, which is plenty of drilling.
Okay, that's great. So yeah, and actually, can you give us your OTC ticker? Another thing too, because I know a lot of you are Americans who invest in these, and you buy the pink sheet listings. They have a fully compliant OTC listing as well.
Yeah, it's XTGRF.
Okay.
That's XTGRF. And if you just punch in Xtra XTRA-Gold Resource Corp, that symbol will come up. So Americans can buy us in American dollars. We don't trade a lot of volume there because we're Toronto Stock Exchange listed stock, but it gives you the ability to buy both Canadian and American dollars.
And it should also be noted that, and you're not TSX, you're not CSE, you're Toronto listed.
Right. So we're on the big board in Toronto, which is another benefit. As the institutions discover us and the larger investors, that large board listing will probably come invaluable later on. And again,
I hate to harping on, but again, that's where the share structure comes in, because a lot of large cap or larger institutions, they actually have a rule they can't buy stock under a certain price.
Right.
So even if a stock, say, had a $2 stock price and it's worth 500 million, a lot of them may not be able to buy it because of that rule. Where with you guys, if you're say $3, you're still only got a 120. An $80 million. No, $120 million.
150.
Yeah, 150. Yeah. So you guys, will be, still small, but institutions will be able to purchase you as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, we have a very low show count. We have good shareholders. The management all have lots of stock.
Yeah.
So we're fully aligned for shareholders that buy here. We're committed, hopefully, not to be issuing any financings unless it's strategic. Like we're bringing a partner in. It's going to help us grow the company quicker. So we're only interested in strategic financings and that will drive the company. And if someone doesn't come that's going to be strategically help the company execute our goal, then we're not really interested in a big shareholder.
Yeah, and then also too, in terms of that, and is again, the problem with financing is not the solution, but people stock can hit the market, who's selling. But if someone's strategic, there's gonna be a large shareholder and they're gonna be in for the long haul.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really add to the float,
Yeah, strategic people to me are like the miners that want to grow with us, that are interested maybe in buying us out when we get the project to several million ounces or can help us put it in production. That to me is strategic. Maybe a well-known fund that's going to stay with us for 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years, yeah.
But we probably don't need that now because we're fairly advanced. So a long-term investor now, if we get someone for 2, we'd be happy with that because we think we'll be able to push the accelerator here and get the resource up. Yeah, and again, with the share structures, I know I keep talking about it all the time, but one thing that's amazing about it is I've looked at all the mining companies going back 10, 15 years. There's a website you can go look at everyone's member shares outstanding, because companies issue stock options every year. That's diluted, even if they don't finance. Right.
So even stocks like Newmont, Barrick, the big boys, they have 20, 30, 50% more stock outstanding now than they did, say, at the previous peak in 2011 because of the options being exercised. And every year they have new options exercised and at lower prices. So, some of those options are out of the money, but some of the other ones that hit the market. So yeah, it's just, that is, I have to say, anyone who knows about the junior mining industry, it can be a real sinkhole and you got to keep raising money all the time. So again, that to me is, this is probably the only deal I know that like that. You said you guys are only 1 or 2 junior deals that have done this, like the
Well, as far as creating cash flow and exploration company, I don't know of any.
yeah,
But you know, there's several. The reason you buy a gold stock, a junior gold stock, you look at Great Bear on the Toronto. When you have a major discovery, which I think Xtra Gold's going to have, I'm not saying it's we're going to be Great Bear yet, obviously, but when you have that, you can have a company go from 60 million market cap to $1 billion market cap, and that's why people still take the risk to play us.
Yeah.
Although, like you said, maybe only 1 out of 100, very small work. But when you're on the right one, it can, you can make a lot of money on that.
Well, and then just to finish off here, I guess some people might ask, well, then if you've been doing this since 2003 and the company's been listed, then why hasn't got the big discovery? And this is very common. Like, it takes 15, 20 years sometimes to have one of these big discoveries and really build it up. But what usually happens is the company will like drill, the cycle turns down, then they just don't have any more money. And then that property gets transferred to another company.
Correct. And
then they drill it, and it takes 2 or 3 cycles. And then finally, say in the 3rd cycle, 15, 20 years later, the mine goes into production or is sold or the whatnot. But what's great about you guys keeping a large, how much cash do you have in your balance sheet?
Yeah, so today we're at with liquid cash, securities, and gold, liquid assets. We have 10 million US.
Yeah, so say you're only trading, another thing 4 times cash essentially too.
Yeah, we have about 25 cents in liquid cash and assets. But the other thing I want to talk about, Dave, too, just highlight, when I staked this ground, we weren't on the Toronto Stock Exchange. So for 8 years, it was a private company.
Okay.
And we staked the ground, and we didn't go public on the Toronto until late 2010. We proved the resource up with 1 drill rig in 18 months, the first maiden resource. And then we shut the hatches down for 8 years, basically waiting for this market to come back.
Yeah.
So in fairness to us, drilling aggressively, we just started like really about 6 months ago. So we're adding the ounces quick now. We're ready to do it because the gold market, the gold is where it is around 1,800. So what we did is we stopped the project and didn't issue cheap shares because as the founder, I didn't want to dilute myself. I knew this was going to be a once in a lifetime potential, and you don't want to give these things away to another partner if you can keep them intact, and you're better off to wait.
Well, and then another thing as well in terms of that is like, it's great that a lot of companies keep working throughout the bear markets and the whatnot, but I always say it's the old, if the tree falls in the forest, thing, if anyone hears it. The problem with that is you can have some great results and build up the resource, but because you're in a bear market, the psychology is horrible and no one's paying attention,
right,
then your stock can be like stagnant and just sit there. So if you have the ability to just kind of wait it out, then yeah, that's great. Because then when you actually do build it up, you're going to get the premium for your valuation, stock price, etc.
Yeah, and that's, we did a base amount of work to get ready to push the accelerator, but we took our time and we did a lot of soil sampling, surveys over the bear market, trenching. So we did the least expensive part, got ready to get all these drill targets drill ready. Now we have an inventory of 6 ready drill targets after we're finished this gold shoot. In this gold shoot, it's going to be somewhere between 1 to 2 million ounces, which is phenomenal. And then we're going to step up to the other gold shoots. So, we're in elephant country as far as gold deposits, and we didn't want to give this away to someone else because we didn't have the time to put into the project. So we're ready to go. And the next few years, we'd like to reward our shareholders.
Okay, that's great. So we'll do a follow-up probably in a few months. I don't know where you're going to be, so we might have to do it on Zoom.
Correct.
Yeah. So we are on Zoom now. We happen to be in the. Hey, by the way, it's nice to do an interview with someone in person.
Yeah.
Because for the last year, that hasn't happened very much.
There's very few personal interviews.
Yeah.
Okay. So it'll be fine. I'll be going back to Ghana, so when I have an update, I'd love to update your.
We usually do these like once a quarter, so it's February. So we look to do it around May or something. When will you be in Ghana?
Oh, I'm on my way back. Probably in April for a month.
April, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe after you come back, I don't know if you'll be in Canada or the States or here. We'll do it someplace though when you come back.
Okay, excellent. Well, thanks for taking the time to listen to our project.
Yeah, and thanks. Thanks for being on. Done.
All right. Is it okay?